All right, welcome back to From 8 Arbitration. And I've got the man himself in here, Mr. Ron Speman from FedUp. Ron, what's up?
What's up? Thank you for having me, brother.
I mean, he came all the way down from Pennsylvania. So I took him out to eat, so we're both stuffed, and we're yawning a lot, and we're struggling right now. And so, and Cole Billups, thank you, brother. You bailed me out. This was a catastrophe, and we did about 800 little samples on different microphones, and so I'm hoping that this was coming out all right, but we're going to make do anyway. Before I get started with Mr. Speakman, now I asked him, what are we going to talk about? And he said, man, I don't know. So this will be an interesting little episode because we don't know what we're going to talk about. We're just going to start throwing subjects out there and see what happens. But let's make sure we get on Discord. I didn't say that yesterday, so make sure we're getting on Discord, Reddit. Those two things are jumping right now, so make sure you're getting on that. From8arbitration.com. It looks beautiful. Done some great work on that. Make sure we're getting on those things. The 50-50 raffle, talked about it yesterday. I'm going to talk about it today. I'll talk about it next week and the week after that. And so make sure we're getting on From8arbitration.com and getting on that 50-50 raffle. Again, all proceeds to benefit MDA. The drawing is Friday, August 9th, 2024 at NALC National Convention in Boston. Only 5,000 tickets available. That was 2 weeks ago, so hopefully they're almost out. But $12,500 prize if all the tickets are sold, $5 for each ticket, and Zelle is only accepted until July 1st. So let's make sure that we're getting on From8arbitration.com and doing a good thing and getting all those tickets sold for MDA. Make sure you're getting your shirts. They said that this week would be the last week to get the shirts if you're going to get them on time. And so those things are selling pretty good, which is good. And all those proceeds will go to MDA as well. Got Ron Speakman today. Sunday, we're going to have Charlie Miller. Then we're going to have JB on Monday, and then I'll be back on the next Sunday and getting us ready for Boston, all the things that are going to happen there. The CLC, Concerned Letter Carriers, their website is up and running. So go to clc.com. I guess that's what it is.
ConcernedLetterCarriers.com.
Is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
So go to ConcernedLetterCarriers.com and you can see everything you need to know about the CLC. Talks about Mr. Henry and all the other things. It's pretty good website done by two incredibly talented individuals as well. I'm going to get to Mr. Speakman. I had one screenshot I want to talk to y'all about, and it was kind of what I was addressing yesterday. And this was sent out today. And this is we're talking about stationary events. We're talking about going after minutes because of this $91 million they're trying to recoup. Here's the message that was sent out today. It says, okay, staff, I know it is hot, but you all need to stop sitting in your vehicles between drags. Too many stationary events without delivery. Get your drink of water and keep moving. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. So these are things that they're still sending out, even after what happened to Mr. Gates, where it says, keep it moving, beat the heat, keep it moving. You still see how they're doing us today. And again, I put all of this on our president. And I'll continue to do that because when people send me things like this, it pisses me off that management has the gall to send that out. Even after what happened to Mr. Gates, they've not learned. Even after falsifying our HIP training, they've not learned. Even after this young lady died in Arkansas, this supervisor, they've not learned how dangerous this weather is right now with this heat. I'll read it again, then we're going to get to Mr. Speakman. But just if you're going to send me these, I'm going to read them. And so again, okay, staff, I know it is hot, but you all need to stop sitting in your vehicles between drags. Too many stationary events without delivery. Get your drink of water and keep moving. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. I'd fire that motherfucker up with a grievance today. And that just came out today. The date on there is 7/15. And that just came out. And I'll put everything in there about Mr. Gates, everything in there about this young lady who just died. And Article 14, and 134 of the M39, I'd load that grievance up on them. My president be damned on that. I would just do that. These things are unsafe. These scanner messages, I had several episodes about grieving unsafe scanner messages. Do that. Anytime they send these scanner messages out like that, grieve that. That's an unsafe scanner message. Grieve it. But like I said, man, I'll fight every single one of these. Y'all send them to me, we're going to fight them. Your business agents may not give a shit. That's okay. We'll fight them here. All right? Because you're not going to put my people in an unsafe position. And that's exactly what that's doing. It's no different than keep it moving, beat the heat. Get you a sip of water and keep moving. The audacity of that. Business agents, when they see that, should just jump all over that. They should show up themselves to the station and fire somebody's ass up. But again, like I said, we've got the worst bunch of business agents I've ever seen with the NLC right now. But anyway, Ron, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, brother. Good to be here, man. I appreciate your hospitality. Thank you for being a great, gracious host and taking the time out of your busy life to allow me to come down here with you and do this show.
How was the food?
Brother, I would say I'm ready for round 2, but my body will tell you something different because I am bold.
That's what I wanted. So you tell me, you say, hey, let's get together, man. Let's do an episode. And you're coming down today. And I was like, man, what are we going to talk about? And he's like, man, I don't know. We're just going to shoot the shit.
Everything and anything.
So, man, you
got 2 of the best rebel rousers in this place right now. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. We don't waste our time. If we're going to get down, baby, let's get down.
That's it.
But, yeah, FedUp is your podcast.
Yes.
I've been on there. It was last year.
Was it?
Or maybe it's 2 years ago.
No, it wasn't.
It was Derek, because I remember it was college football season. I remember that. So it was last fall.
Okay, yeah. Well, I just hit a year anniversary on July 1st.
It was last fall.
So it was last fall, you're right.
Because I remember listening to the episode on the way back from a Tennessee football game.
Nice.
So it would have been in the fall.
Okay.
So it's been a while.
I have a cut, by the way, behind the scenes funny, if you will. I'm thinking about doing some funnies one episode, but when we first got started, remember what happened?
What's that?
I fumbled my words. I'm like, fuck this shit. We got to do this shit over, goddammit. You're like, you fucked up when you said special guest.
yeah. But, yeah, man, hey, anytime we're going to get together, we're going to make it count. But,
yes, sir.
So what are we going to talk about? Man, you throw anything at me, man.
Bro,
I'm going to talk about it. Even if I have to make something up, I'm going to talk about it.
Coombs, Petros, oh my.
Yeah.
Let's get into it all. But first off of what you said, man, when you were doing your intro, I just want to remind everybody, listen, safety is your call. Do not be bullied into this beat the heat bullshit garbage that they're putting out. You take your time, you hydrate. You take more comfort stops if you need them. You take them as you need, because just like a law enforcement officer, their job is to go home to their family at the end of the day, but guess what? That's your job too. Get home safe to your family. Fuck management, what they're telling you, right? Within reason now, right? I don't want you to say, well, Ron said or court. No. But, yeah, definitely. Safety is your call, man. But,
that language is something you got right there.
Man, it must be the Southern hospitality down here, the food I'm getting.
Just come into this room, you just start cussing. So,
listen, the tracking. Talk to me about the trackers. Did you hear anything as far as those new the GPSs they're putting in the vehicles?
Yes. I consulted with the union about that.
Okay.
And they told us there's no grievance.
Okay.
That's as simple as that. I've had a lot of people saying, hey, they're putting these things now in our vehicles. They'll send me the picture of it, and they'll say, what are we doing about that? I asked the NLC, are we grieving these things? No, because they're not supposed to be tracking us with them, is what they said.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but do some of them have video? Can they actually see the inside? We know that.
They have not told me that.
See, to me, that should be grievable.
That's an invasion of privacy.
And you're micromanaging the shit out of us even more. So
because some people said that they get audio, they collect audio, video, and so. But again, I've talked to the union about that. No grievance.
Well, with audio stuff, listen, man, if you're hot, see, one thing I used to do in these scanners, I didn't know if they were listening when I first started. I used to curse like a motherfucker in those motherfucking things. Listen, I know you recorded me. I know you. Fuck you. I used to have fun with it, but what I'm saying is use that to your advantage, right? Use that if they're gonna record you. Hey, it's hot out here. Speak to yourself loudly. So if that does happen, I'm just saying use that for documentation or whatever. But
so let me ask you, when you're sitting there holding the scanner up, cussing it, did a customer ever walk by with that?
Not
while
that
you're sitting there holding the scanner up saying, I know you're listening to me, motherfucker. A customer will like, what the hell is wrong with Ron?
Well, if they saw that, they probably didn't want to come up to the van and ask me.
Just call your supervisor. I think somebody's getting some issues with the heat out here.
Oh man, but no, I listen, Corey. Everything you put out there, I always tell everybody listen to it. But the biggest thing is, I don't know if you probably would agree, is I want to talk about that. Our carriers need to still do their due diligence when it comes to it's basically a responsibility to themselves, right? If we give them all the information. And let's just start with this simple thing. If you need a witness statement, do you expect your store to go get that witness statement? Or should it be the responsibility of the said carrier that's going through something to see if they can get the witness statement? What's your thoughts on that, I should say?
On collecting witness statements?
Yes. If I went through something, you need that to do your job to represent me.
Yeah.
Would you ask me to get that yourself? Because I feel like we should try at least to get that ourselves before involving whoever's representing us to do that for us.
Yeah, I think stewards are going to know when you're going to need a statement, what's going to need a statement, what's not going to need a statement.
Sure. So
if you come up to me and you say, hey, Corey, I've got, the supervisor came over to me, told me, hey, yesterday was completely unacceptable. You're too slow. You need to probably consider another job. Then I'm going to say, we got a grievance right there, 115.4 of the M39. Who else heard that?
Okay.
Well, I had about 3 other carriers that stepped out and then I'm going to go as a steward and I'm going to say, hey, first off, give me a statement of what they said to you.
Right.
Very, very detailed in your statement.
Yes, sir.
I want to know exactly what was said. Too many times when I go to arbitration, a manager will say to a carrier, they'll come out and they'll say, Ron, why are you so fucking slow? We got this carrier over, the CC over here can do your route. You've been doing your route for 20 years. You're the worst fucking carrier I've ever seen. They'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
The statements that you get, the carriers will not write that. They'll say they spoke, they used vulgar language.
They won't write what they
said. They were cursing.
Yeah.
That doesn't do me any good. I understand not wanting to write something down like that. If you're, a church person or whatever, very religious, you may not want to do that. You've got to write down what was said. You have to be very specific when you're writing statements. You need to tell when you get it from the carrier and they use curse words. As a shop steward, I'm going to say, what curse words did they use? You need to tell me what was said. Then I'm going to go to those other carriers. I'll say, hey, did you hear what was said there? Yes. Give me a statement on that.
Okay.
Article 8, you're not going to need a statement. Hey, Corey, they worked so-and-so off their assignment. I should have gotten that overtime, being as I'm on the ODL. All I need is a clock rings on that. And overtime desired list, whatever's going to go with that. But most of the time, I'm going to take it to my shop steward and tell them what happened. Shop steward's going to be able to tell me whether I need statements on that or not. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, in a nutshell, pretty much. Because where I was going with that is, I wanted to get your feedback, number one, but also I see sometimes where, and this pisses me off, and listen, if people out there, if carriers out there take this the wrong way, I don't mean it the wrong way, but I need you to realize that you have a responsibility to yourself to not only educate and research it yourself. Obviously, we're going to rely on representation and stuff, but we need to do a better job advocating for ourselves. Speak up. In other words, we cannot expect a shop steward, an MBA, whoever it is, to do everything for us. I get it, we're paying union dues and membership, but if you want anything to get going, you have to take action as well. Stay on top of that steward or that MBA if they're lacking in their job or their due diligence, right?
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with that. That's why I wanted to ask you that.
Yeah, I think that when you're talking about carriers, and I say that every carrier needs to be educated.
Sure.
when I say as a business agent, I'm going to make sure every city letter carrier in my region is educated. And that's kind of what that's talking about. Educate yourself on when do I need to stand up? When do I need to speak up? When do I need to go to the steward? What situations? Education to me is the greatest single thing that we can do in the NELC. From the top all the way down to the steward, educate your members.
Sure.
You educate your members, it's going to make the job easier for your shop steward. It's going to make the job easier for your formal A, your president, your business agent. Like I said, we got business agents now that have no business being in their position. They're completely worthless. And they know who they are. And a lot of them are going to retire. They need to go on and get the fuck out of here because they're not educating. Educate your members, and all those things there will take care of themselves.
So you just said something interesting. You said a lot of them aren't even educated. So I kind of want to go deeper into that because for me, and I'm going to talk more about this with Tyler. I want to have our episode done.
Tyler Vassar,
yeah. Minneapolis, Minnesota, Branch 9. Bill Day Fighting NELC movement. Great movement. If you haven't checked it out, please get on there. You can check, email him at tylervassar@gmail.com, I believe it is. Register, get on that Zoom meeting. I believe it's the 21st, right? Sunday. So get on there, check it out, because it's the last one before the convention. But Tyler and I are going to talk more about this, and more specifically me, but I feel like what you just said there with the education. Let's say National has a training. Let's say Advanced OWCP training, right? National puts this together, good training. Whoever's going from your branch, whether it be a steward or WCP rep, it might even be a member, right? Because I attended some trainings before. So, what I'm getting at is, if National's giving them the training, the education, if you will, right? So now it falls on that representative of that branch to bring back that training, what they've learned, to their branch. Uh-huh. A lot of times that doesn't happen.
Right.
So, and let's say they do, and again, I'll make the argument that they do, well, now they bring it back to everybody. Now it falls on, if you're bigger office, small office, depends, but those stewards if they get that information now, they're not doing what they're doing. And I say this more respectfully coming from an on-the-job work injuries, because that's mainly who I help across this country with. That's one of the main things that comes in common with every single person, no matter what craft they're in, what position they hold. The education, they feel like their union representation locally or nationally is not educated enough. And listen, if that shit don't piss you off as the membership, you need to wake the fuck up. Because for me, everybody wants to say something, but until you go through whatever it is, that situation, when you're hurting the job, when you don't know what it's like to go months without pay, some of these carriers go years without pay, they're losing their homes, they're losing their, some of them do lose their jobs, but they lose their marriage, get divorces, their kids, they're homeless, some of them take their own lives. That's what pisses me the fuck off. Uh-huh. And if we are not pissed off about that, there's something wrong with that. But the education part of that, I feel like something has to be done, but where do you draw the line? So it's the same outcome right now. I'm looking at it. No matter how you slice that pie or point the blame, I feel like that's a major issue, that education and information. Because if we all reported that work injury like we're supposed to do, there's shop stewards out there who don't even know what e-comp is still. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, get with the program. What rock are you under? And I say that respectfully, right? Mm. But some of y'all, just like you said earlier, they should not be in that fucking position. If you're not there to help the membership, get the fuck out. Mm-hmm. But
you said something we were eating. You're talking about education. And you said that a lot of these branches can't send their people to education. When you have, say you have regional education, you have national education, advanced formal A, some of this advanced training. A lot of these smaller branches can't afford to send their members to those trainings. What do we do for them? I think that's where the business agent's office is failing us, because this podcast is designed specifically it's really for all city letter carriers, but it's for those smaller branches who can't get that education. I can't afford as a small branch to send somebody to Washington, D.C. to get training. I can't afford as a smaller branch to send somebody to Biloxi, Mississippi for regional training. So what do we do for them? Do we just abandon those people? To me, the business agents need to make sure that every single branch has the opportunity, the same opportunity as the larger branches, the ones that can afford to send people to training. These business agents need to make sure that every branch, small branch, large branch, gets the same education, the same opportunities. And so how do we do that? Well, the business agents need to get out of their office and go train. They need to give the RGA a week, go train. You've got Biloxi. We had this training in Biloxi. What branches weren't able to come and why? Well, we couldn't afford to. We're going to send people to you then. We're going to go train you.
Exactly. And that's the solution.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a lot of those smaller offices, I mean, if you have the RGA and you've got 2 RAs, and the NBA is giving them that information and bring them up appropriately, right?
Yeah.
They can disperse that even more and go to those little ones themselves while the NBAs get out of the office still going to those larger offices. Does that make sense? Or
yeah. I've always said the 2 major things, if you want to succeed, and I've said this 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You got to love me. You know, when I go into your station, Ron, you got to know, here's Corey. That motherfucker's going to come up and give me a hug, man. And tell me that he loves me. Because I do. As a city letter carrier, it's just who I am. Love me and educate me. If you do those 2 things, man, we're going to succeed as a union.
Absolutely.
We're missing that now with this new NALC. First off, your president, this motherfucker's a narcissist. He doesn't have a clue about either one of those things. He'll do what's mandated of him as far as going to speak, these things to educate. Those things are mandated of him. What are you doing other than that? You got Barner. This motherfucker, you know, I've heard there's some people reached out to me today about their DRT training. Him and his sugar daddy from labor was in that same situation, same story, you know, bending over in front of this guy from labor. When you love me, you're going to put me first. All this other shit, labor, all that shit, none of that matters. And so I think we need to get people in place. That's the reason I love the CLC so much. People in place that are going to love me and they're going to educate me. Do those 2 things, and you're going to succeed. You'll be shocked at how amazing the NALC could be by loving me and educating me. And as a business agent, that's what I'm going to do. You know, I love my people. They love the city letter care. But the main thing I can do, the most important thing I can do, is educate them.
Education, knowledge is power at the end of the day, right?
It's the only thing that matters.
And if you got that love, hey, it's just you're in a relationship, right? You're in a relationship with the rank and file. That's it. You're there for us, and we love you because you do what you do for us.
It's second nature.
That's it. Just like you're married. If you got a spouse and you're married, you're in a relationship, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Love, communication, education. Yeah. It's all ties in.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right, and that ties into division and unity. I think we're too divided still, even with all the upcoming activists, all the people starting to speak up, especially this younger generation now.
Yeah.
Finding their voice that the veteran carriers, not veterans, right? Just seem to either lost their way, lost their voice, or just don't care, or they just want to come in and do their jobs and not be bothered and go home. Either way, have a voice. That's the only way we're going to have and build that unity to get that building, you know, a fighting NALC that we want and get that respect behind those 4 letters again.
Yeah.
But I appreciate everything you stand for and everything you're going to bring to the table, that you've been bringing to the table, not just the education. You say the shit that needs to be said, even if it doesn't make you popular, right? We don't do what we do for fucking popular votes, you know. We do.
Thank God.
Right. Yeah. They would have pulled the plug on my show. But we do what we do because it's the right thing. We have that love for the craft, for the members.
Yeah. So, as the agent, Ron, when you talk about, I'm the agent. You're a city letter carrier. I'm the steward. I'm your agent. And that's how you should look at me. Because I work for you. You don't work for me. And we've lost that as well along the way when you're talking about business agents. Even, you know, I keep talking about Renfro and all those. They work for us. And they've lost that along the way as well. But to me, the ideal union, and, you know, you say everybody is the union. We're all the union. That's true. But we're not all the agent.
Correct. Correct.
There's a difference when I talk about Article 1, and I did this a long time ago. There's a difference in the agent and the craft, the city letter carrier. There's a difference there. They're not the same. And there's a reason for that. It's because as a city letter carrier, you should come to work in a peaceful environment. You should come to work and expect to go to your case your route, go to the street, not have to worry about these scanner messages, not have to worry about being bullied and intimidated based off of these fictitious hour office times, these parameters that they say are standards. You shouldn't have to deal with that as a city letter carrier. The ones who should have to deal with that are your agent, me, the shop steward. I should be deflecting all of that off of you. And if that's not happening, we have failed the city letter carrier craft as the agent. The business agent should be making sure that what are the hot spots in my region where that is not happening? Why is it not happening? Why are my carriers being bullied in this station? Because they should be coming to work in a peaceful environment. And everybody says, that's the perfect world. No, that's contractual. 115.4 of the M39 handbook says what? It's the manager, the frontline manager, who is supposed to maintain an atmosphere of mutual respect. So they're the ones charged with maintaining a mutual respect atmosphere. If that's not happening, why not? And so I just, I talk about the movie 300 where all those arrows are coming in, and they have the shields and they stick them up and they deflect all of them and they're laughing. We are that shield. We're to keep those arrows off of our members as the agent. And until that starts happening, Ron, then we're going to have more and more of these situations. Sure. But that's a lot to do about what you just said.
No, absolutely. And listen, what is our agency called again?
It's the NELC, National Association.
No, not our organization. What agency do we work for again?
The Postal Service.
What's the last word?
Service.
So we're service oriented.
Right.
Last time I checked.
You're supposed
not
to be.
Productivity.
Yeah.
So
not the postal business.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man. But what do you think about also complacency setting in? Listen, the easy answer is you don't like it, get someone in there to fucking run against whoever it is.
Yeah.
That's the easy solution, the no-brainer. But how many people are going to step up to the plate and actually would do that, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of regions and their MBAs have gotten complacent. They just don't give a fuck. And again, that pisses me off. And those people in that region, if you have one of those MBAs, I can roll off at least 4 names right now at the top of my head.
Brother.
I know you got more. Listen,
brother.
We're going to build that ticket for 2026.
I've seen some shit.
But that's what gets me, because again, when I get stories, and again, most of it's on-the-job injuries, but it ties in with the toxic and hostile environment with exactly everything you just mentioned. We should be able to come in and do our jobs. Now, obviously, the MBA is not going to be in that office, but you just said, get the hell out of the office. Mm-hmm. Make yourself seen. When's the last time, I ask any member out there, when's the last time you've seen your MBA in your office ever? Mm-hmm. You're going to probably hear that word. Never.
Christmas party.
Well, some people, yeah.
A retirement of somebody of about 45 years. The business agent may come up for that. But the last time that they would be on the back dock welcoming carriers into a station.
Right.
Doesn't happen.
No.
At branch meetings, rarely. I imagine when you start seeing the election get closer, you're really going to see the business agents get out there and say, hey, I've been your business agent. These are all the great things that I've done. You're going to see that a lot, because they know that their job is in jeopardy. And so, complacency. You got a business agent that's a complete piece of shit. You're trying to find somebody to replace them. That's very difficult. Mm-hmm. That's very difficult. Now, the one good thing about this podcast is I get interaction with a lot of members that said, hey, because of the podcast, that fire, the passion, I've decided to jump back into the arena, which is the greatest message you can get. And you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
It's the greatest message you can get, saying, hey, I was out of it, man. Wasn't concerned about the NELC, the Postal Service anymore, just doing my time, and then started listening. And I said, hey, I can make a difference. And so those are great things that you hear, and you hope that will take care of that complacency, that you'll have that young lion step up and say, it's going to be me. Put me in the ring, and then we'll prop them up and help them as much as we can. When you have some of these regions like we was talking about, that the business agents have no idea what in the fuck is going on. I had somebody reach out the other day, was talking about their business agent, and they had filed a grievance, and the business agent contacts them and says, hey, quit using the M39 handbook in your issue statement. That's management's handbook. They didn't understand that would fall under Article 19, the M39 handbook. They were saying, hey, quit using management's handbook in your issue statement. And they're like, are you serious? Yes, that's management's handbook. It has no business in your issue statement. That's how uneducated some of our business agents are. And so completely bizarre. But anyway.
That's like saying don't put code of federal regulation in with the, on-a-job injury.
Yeah. Why are you using all that lingo?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of important.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, what would we do to change that atmosphere if we want to go deeper as far as, again, with the education information? Not to backtrack here, but because I got to be honest, there's just two words I got to say. Collusion and corruption. Mm-hmm. It's there, it's existent, and I know some people don't want to open up their eyes and see it or accept it. You rather accept and tolerate the way management's treating than accept or tolerate and open your eyes and see that there's collusion and corruption in our own union. And it's disheartening to me because I hear a lot of the stories with these injuries. There's no reason we should be letting our members go that long without pay. Mm-hmm. And listen, the OWCP process, that is what it is. We have no control on that, but we do have control on filing those grievances, getting that education and information when it comes to, and listen, there's some great RWCAs out there. Ours in Region 12, Kristen Williams. Awesome to work for. Matter of fact, she's having a training in Jersey the 21st. Richie Ray and I are going to be going down there to go get some WCP training and meet up with her and talk to him.
I love that guy.
Oh, he's awesome, man.
Hey,
you were just down in New York.
I love me some Richie Ray, son. As that dude right there, you talking about a fire breather.
Yes.
That motherfucker is ready to kick somebody's ass all the time. And so I love being around him because he fires me up, believe it or not.
It's that New York mentality.
It is. I'm a Southern boy down here, and, we got that Southern hospitality, and you go up there, man, he's kicking doors in. You know what I'm saying? So I love me some Richie Ray, man.
Well, right now, if he's hearing this, he's smiling because before you met up with him, before you even on the show, I told him you were going to be on the show.
Yeah.
I forget if we talked about him or not. I think I was going to try to hook you guys up or whatever.
Yeah.
But he was excited. He goes, oh, you're so lucky, man. So he's a big fan of yours.
Yeah. Well, I'm a fan of his.
There you go, Richie. Hey, we're going to have to set that up one time.
Could you imagine him having a podcast?
Oh, well, you know what? The funny thing is I told him he should do something like Richie's Corner.
Yes.
Or something. Yes, right? He would blow that up, man. What? Richie, get it done, brother.
Hey, that Brooklyn accent, the way he talks, he makes me blush. Yeah.
But, the collusion and corruption, I feel, is just as important as the education part that we were just talking about.
It's the ultimate stereotype. When you look back at the old Union movies back in the 70s and the 60s, it's the ultimate stereotype what we're dealing with. That the corruption, the collusion, like you're talking about, the good old boy network. It's the ultimate that what we're dealing with right now, and so that's discouraging to members. When you're talking about what can we do. I think that when you talk about, and I always say, the lions are coming because I love saying that shit. They
are coming.
I like that visual. When you talk about surround yourself with those in the same mission as you, I always put that picture up of those lions all going in the same direction. Yeah. Surround yourself with those on the same mission as you. That's what I consider the CLC. they're all on the same mission. Are we all going to get along and all agree with everything? No, but we're all on the same mission. And that mission is to put the city letter carrier first and devour everything else. Yep. And that's the CLC. That's what I've been talking about. And so, to me, when you talk about surround yourself with those on the same mission as you, Ron, if you and I have a disagreement, we're on the same team, right?
Right.
I have to trust that if you and I disagree with each other, you're not going to bail on me.
Right.
You're not going to jump ship. You're not going to leave at the very first sign
of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do that, because when you do that, you've proven to me that you are not on the same mission as me. And that mission is to protect the city letter carrier and put them first and devour everything else. And so you see that a lot with people saying, well, I don't like the way that went. I'm leaving. I don't like the way that's going. I'm out. Rather than getting in there, rolling up your sleeves and saying, hey, we got to fix this shit. Mm-hmm. We're all on the same mission. We got to fix this shit, man. Whatever it takes, however long we have to sit here,
yep.
we're not going to leave until we fix this shit. I don't like how this is going, and I don't like how this is going. That's being on the same mission. But when you say, man, I just don't like the way that one thing went, I'm going to pack up my shit and I'm leaving. Really didn't need you in the first place.
I'm taking my ball and going home.
Yeah. Because I want to surround myself with like-minded people, with fucking lions.
What do you say all the time? Get in the ring. Just get in the ring.
Get in the fucking ring, man.
Stay in the ring. Get in the ring.
Yeah, you got too many people on the sidelines and the bleachers, hecklers and shit.
Yeah.
That wouldn't last 2 fucking minutes in situations we've been in. And so, anyway.
Yep. No, I totally agree with you. And just get in the ring, number one. Use your voice. Secondly, speak up. No matter how loud or how soft you are, just speak up.
Yeah.
Right? I know we're all different. Not everybody's a Corey Waltland. Not everybody is the angry mailman. Not everybody's a Richie Ray, brother. Right? Yeah. Or Ron Speakman, whatever the case is. But you still have a voice. Use it. And I think the CLC platform is if we get out, vote. Listen, first off, 31%, I think it was last year, something like that.
Yes.
That's pathetic. Now, I know.
That's disinterest.
Exactly. We were disengaged.
Yeah.
But now we got to ask ourselves that question. Why is the membership losing trust and faith? Not only that, but disengaging from the union. What are the numbers behind people not wanting to pay union dues anymore and keep that in their check?
Yeah.
We got to ask ourselves, why is that? Why are people getting disengaged and don't want to be part of it? And that falls on everything you just said. Education, information, getting out there, fighting. Hey, you show me the love, I'm going to give you that representation. I'm going to give it to you anyway. But if you show me that love, I'm going to show you that same amount of love and then some back.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. And I think that's what the CLC is going to provide for us. And listen, James Henry is the absolute top candidate. Those are people that know me out there. Fuck politics. I don't do politics. I'm inside the NALC, rooting for this country for that matter. I don't care. But when I vote this time around, finally, I'm voting for James Henry.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm a little bit biased.
Yeah.
22-year Marine Corps veteran, retired as a gunnery sergeant. We need those qualities, those leadership skills, right? Not just from the Marine Corps, but from the man himself. And I think what you guys are building with the CLC ticket and that whole movement by itself, you talked about Lions. What do you say all the time, brother? Change is coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
It's inevitable. It's coming. There's nothing they can do about it. But I agree with you on James Henry, and I didn't mean to get off on this, but since you bring it up, I'm going to talk about it. But, when you talk about those characteristics, what I'm looking for, and I talk about this all the time, as a president, what do I want? I want integrity. You've got to bring that back to the NLC presidency. You've got to bring integrity. We are the laughingstock of every union right now in the Postal Service with this clown we have at the top. You've got to bring integrity back to that position. Mm-hmm. He does that day one. When you talk about a Marine, my father was a Marine, and he talks about it still. He's 87 and still talks about it. The Marines, when you talk about them, what stands out? They're the ones who said, I want to be the first into action. That's what the Marine Corps is. Everybody knows. When shit goes down, they're the first ones into action. Well, that's what he chose to be. Then he went up the ranks. So what does that tell you? He knows how to be a leader of men. And not just that, surround himself with those like-minded individuals, other leaders of men. And you say leaders of men, that's got a phrase to be men and women, but you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But those are qualities that I admire the most, is the integrity, the fact that he went through those situations as a gunny sergeant. You talk about those things. His arbitration record is crazy. It's ridiculous how good he was at that. What does that tell you when you have somebody that's that successful in arbitration? They are very persuasive. They're very persuasive with high-level individuals, talking about arbitrators, those people that were attorneys, judges, or whatever, and they've retired. He's very persuasive with those individuals if you have that kind of insane arbitration record. Renfro had one arbitration. That's all he had. James Henry, his record is silly. It's so good. So that just lets you know that when you're in that setting, not every case you go in there with is a winner. You have to persuade that arbitrator that your case is a winner. And he was adept at that. He was very good at it. And so that tells me that when he's around other individuals, he's very persuasive. When you got that kind of record, that's what that means. And so, people love him. Anybody that's around him, falls in love with the guy. He's a very religious individual.
Southern Baptist? No, he's a Baptist, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't curse. So him and I, when we talk, I have to scale it back a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I think the world of him. And, like I said, I love Mike Cariff too. Him and I go way back. It's just that the qualities that I'm looking for, they're in James Henry as far as
James Henry.
Those specific things, that integrity that I'm talking about, the Marine Corps, just that leadership ability. Hey, I'm willing to be first into action, and an insane arbitration record. That's a good little resume for me to say that's the individual, because it's, at the end of the day, when you're the president, you're going to say, who am I surrounding myself with? You have a president now that's a narcissist, and he's saying, hey, it's me. I'm going to make all the decisions. I'm not going to listen to anybody else. And everybody up there will tell you that. Everybody will tell you that. That's not a leader. That's a tyrant. James Henry is already saying, hey, I'm going to surround myself with people that know more about this than I do, know more about this situation than I do, know about this, and I'm going to listen to everybody. Ultimately, it's going to be my call, but I'm going to listen to everybody, and I'm going to surround myself with lions. And,
yes,
and hell, I'm here for it.
Absolutely.
That's my plug. That's my plug. I'm going to piggyback on what you said about my man. So
it's not even a plug. It's just, it's here and it's coming.
Yeah.
That's it. And
it's inevitable.
Absolutely. And shout out to David Grosskopf Jr.
Hey, don't even get me started on that guy.
I love that guy, man. Listen, he always says, I'm the pit bull. Listen, David, if you listen to this, I love you, bro.
He said, we talk all the time, man. He's my brother from another mother. And he's like, are you sure you're not from New York, the way you cuss? And I was like, no, hey, we cuss down here in the South too. But that guy and I, man, we could talk all day, brother, just wearing some shit out. So I love David too.
Listen, I got to talk about something that's in your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people that someone in HR has been fucking over for too long. Matter of fact, she just got a promotion because of it. There's a fucking surprise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that name is Michelle Edmondson.
Yeah.
From HR. And I got to talk about this because I plan on doing an episode. And Michelle, I hope you're ready, because when I get my facts in order, it's time to share with the world what you've been doing to people, because it ain't right. And matter of fact, another person who was a rural carrier who lives in Franklin as well.
Yeah, right down the street.
Yeah. So there we go. It's just, I got full carte blanche to just use the whole story of his.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna. And there's gonna be other people in there. But my question to you is how, besides doing what we do, bringing it awareness to whatever that is going on, how do we fight that? How do we fight a corrupt human resource manager because of doing unethical and even illegal things that are causing harm to our members? How do we just bring a halt to that? How do we fight back against that? Because I'll be honest with you, when's the last time you heard about accountability happening? That's one of the biggest things that isn't happening. I always say structure, discipline, and accountability are three major things, but how do we get accountability for that, man?
Have you heard her name before on this podcast?
Not on the podcast, because listen, I wish I had more time to listen. I'll be honest with you, I don't have no time hardly. But
well, you would have to pay attention to this one, but I have used her name before.
Have you really?
It was in the Memphis miniseries. If you go back and listen to that,
okay.
It was my closing argument. When I go down through the list of everybody who knew what was going on in Memphis and did nothing about it, she was in there.
Okay.
Her name was in there, Michelle Evanson. And so, that was, I'm well aware of that. But how you go after that individual is the same thing, same way we went after the district manager. You have to have correspondence that we fed, hey, Michelle, this is the national business agent, whoever. It's come to our attention that these things are happening. And we would like a meeting with you to discuss those things. You'll have a meeting with them. You'll take an RAA. They may have somebody with them, and you're going to take great minutes. And you're going to say, look, these are the issues that we've been having with your office. It looks like y'all are whatever your complaints were. It looks like we're doing this. Can you explain that for me? And they may or may not. But you will have that on the record. And so when you're talking about filing grievances, which is the only avenue we have, really,
right?
It's a paper trail. If you're going to get rid of individuals like this one, it's a paper trail.
Established pattern, right?
And so if I'm going to say they're falsifying something, and we go to them about that, and we're saying, hey, these things here, you falsified. What are we going to do with it? And then if I don't get a response from them, I'm going to request to talk to the district manager. Because the business agent has a lot of power in that region that we're not using. We're not utilizing. You saw Eddie Davidson, the business agent from Region 9, light up a district manager in an email and that PowerPoint about that supervisor throwing away mail. Lit that motherfucker up. That's the power of the business agent, and they don't understand it or they just don't want to get involved. But when you get to the district manager, you say, hey, here's the issue. I'm the business agent now. We're meeting with the district manager. I'm over this region. I'm over Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. As a business agent, that's what I'm over. So I have a lot of power in this region. And so I'm going to go to the district manager of Tennessee, and I'm going to say, these are some issues I'm having with your HR manager. And I want to know if there's something that you're going to be willing to do about it. If you're not, then I'm going to have to pursue these things in front of an arbitrator. And I'm going to put you, and I'm going to put her, and I'm going to put anybody else that's affiliated with that on that grievance. And I'm going to try to do to y'all what we did in Memphis, remove you from your position.
Let me ask you something quick. We do like a dual or multi, however word you want to use, craft class action?
No.
Okay, and it would have to be just with our union.
Now, under our contract, we can represent another craft. But that's not what you're talking about.
But no,
you're talking about
rural carriers would have to have.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah,
we would have to have our. We would have our list of people with the established pattern that the unethical, illegal things have been happening to. Right?
Yeah. So, now we have arbitrations where we can go into arbitration, and the rural carrier craft can come in there with us and argue a case in front of an arbitrator against management. Now we can do that.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I was in an arbitration once, a past practice on a radio case in Gadsden, where I go in and the rural carriers come in there with management against me. And so, yeah, that happens a lot. But as far as me filing a grievance saying, it's a class action and I'm going to represent city letter carriers and this grievance is all because I'm going to represent rural carriers, we can't do that.
Well, I didn't know if their representation will still come in. Like, if there would be one large class action against an individual that has been wronging people in that such positions.
When we had the case in Hattiesburg, Jason actually was the advocate for that. One of the biggest decisions we've gotten in this region was that arbitration. We were going after Jeremy Hanners, the manager down there, who is a tyrant, one of the worst we've dealt with. And Jason actually was so good in that arbitration that after the first witness, I think that it was pretty much over. When I come in there, she's just sitting there, not even writing anything down. And she's like, hey, I'm not going to be on CNN because I'm bringing this guy back. So we knew we had won it. Mm-hmm. But in that case, in preparation for that case, the rural carriers were sneaking in to where we were interviewing city letter carriers. They were sneaking down there to us saying, hey, can we give you a statement? And we're like, we can put the statement in the file. We just can't represent you. And so we took all that. They were sneaking down to give us statements. So we put those in the file, rural carrier statements, but we couldn't represent them, no.
But still, that's good to know because documentation.
Yeah, that paper trail is deadly.
Man. Oh, man. Listen, what do we talk about, man?
We've been talking a good while, man. What are you talking about? We've done a lot of shit.
We're going to be getting into some pooms.
All right.
How many pooms have you lit up? I'm sure this number has to be high.
Yeah. You deal with pooms a lot because sometimes they will do concurrence in smaller stations. You deal with pooms. I know just about everyone in Tennessee because I've been around so long that at some point they've been lower level management that we fired the fuck up in the grievance procedure. I wish I knew the motherfucker in Buffalo that wrote that about
the AC?
Turn the AC off and drive them out. I wish. Now, Grosskopf handled him.
Yeah.
But I wish he was down here. And that's what I said. If him or that Petros were at my station, my carriers would eat them alive.
Yeah.
That shit right there. If that shit came out down here in my station, my carriers would eat that ass up. But really, as a shop steward, you don't deal with pooms much at all. As advocates, you rarely deal with pooms. They will never come in to testify. They like to disseminate their shit down to the lower levels and let them get the beating.
Of course.
And so,
it goes downhill.
Yeah, postmasters and station managers, they're going to catch that beating from us in arbitration. Pooms really don't get involved with that.
Well, the reason why I asked that was because there's a poom from my area, and there's some shit that's going down. And I know of two incidents because one involved me, the other one involved another carrier from the same installation that I retired from. But also now there's another incident in our district where a carrier got assaulted by management. Ambulance was called. He got taken out of a stretcher. He has PTSD. He can't step foot back in there. The guy's not, and listen, nothing against him. He's just not, his personality's not a lion. And that's okay, right? We're not all lions. I'm not saying he's a sheep either. He's a really good guy, but he definitely didn't deserve what management did to him. None of us do, I know that were you or me, and that shit happened to you. Blindsided us. Yeah, it's on. Yeah. I'm not the one being taken out of ambulance.
Yeah.
But the thing of it behind the story here is that the manager was on the phone with the poom, and this carrier came to the office, whatever was said was said. And then I guess whatever words were said, and then he came out, followed out to the floor, kind of blindsided him, and then just repeatedly kept walking away. I think they did get a witness statement from another craft. And listen, guys, if you know this story and my facts are a little bit off, I apologize. I'm just telling you about what I heard by certain people, and I did talk to the victim. I'm not going to say his name, obviously. But he's a good guy. He used to be a steward for us. Mm-hmm. It's just a shame, but that's why I brought up pooms, because this poom lives in my backyard. I could literally probably see this poem at the grocery store. We can probably shop at the grocery store. And I've never seen her in there yet. Yes, it's a her. I just let the bag.
Right. That's not. There's a lot of there's poems.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. But I mean, I want to do an episode about that as well because it's disgusting to me that I know now this is the third one within short span. I would say 2 years, right? And that's not excluding. That's excluding my issue. I don't count that. But there's the 3 other issues, and they weren't handled properly. And you're the poom. And when I'm sitting there and I have your resume in my hand, and I see all your skills, you're not scared of conflict. You're scared to speak up. You have conflict resolution skills, all this shit. But yet the conflicts remain, and nothing's getting handled. There's no solution, right? That's why I asked you about pooms. Is I feel like there's a lot of pooms that probably do the same shit. Mm-hmm. Again, productivity, not service. You're for the numbers rather than the safety of your own employees, right? When I say employees, I mean everybody, not just managers, but us, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I asked you about if you had run-ins with the pooms, because I want to do an episode with that.
Yeah.
And this particular poom in general, but
I think right now, and I'm not exaggerating, I think we're in the most dangerous time that we've ever been in as a city letter carrier craft. And I've been doing this a long time, 32 years. I think this is the most dangerous time that we've ever been in, and it's because of the things that they're implementing on us. When you talk about, I read that thing yesterday, that training where they're saying they're going to get all this stationary time back. And you got these hour office times, changing our start times. Now that always happens, but all these things coming together at once. It's kind of the perfect storm of putting us in harm's way. And unfortunately, my union is sitting it out. And that's part of the reason I say educate every letter carrier so that they know what to do, know what to say, know how to act, know how to react. But I think it's the most dangerous time, and this is why these things are coming from the top. You don't have rogue management down here just going crazy, doing stupid shit. This is coming from the top, which means what? They got all the protection down here on the workroom floor. Whatever y'all got to do to get the city letter carrier, we've got to get these numbers. The city letter carrier, just like the email we talk about, they're getting our throats ripped out, but dying, falling out of the vehicle. That's how they feel about us. That's not just a single person that sent that out and nobody feels that way. I think that we're in the most dangerous time because these directives are coming from AVPs, coming from headquarters, coming down to POOMs, coming down to district managers, and those things are on teleconferences. Get these numbers, get them out of the office, attack them on these stationary events, threaten them with discipline, as in Mr. Gates' case. So these things are coming down from on high. And these station managers and supervisors are just doing their bidding. And I've not seen that before and this kind of scale in my time with the Postal Service. And it's frightening because you have those individuals you're talking about. They're not a lion. They're not sheep, but they're not a lion. But how much can they take? Mm-hmm. How much can they take every single day when you talk about Chinese water torture? Just that drip, 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 drip. At some point, you'll break. And what does that look like?
And then it's a fucking tragedy when a manager gets assaulted or listen, it's a tragedy when everybody loses their life. Let's be honest. But when you've been, just exactly what you said, Chinese torturing a carrier or an office, an installation, if you will, as long as you have as a manager, and then we break and come at you and assault you, whatever the case is, what gets portrayed on the news?
Yeah.
It's just that. It's not the story within the story.
City letter carrier went postal.
Yeah, postal, exactly. We're the only agency that has its own negative slogan, going postal.
Yeah.
Why is that? But,
and that's how we're viewed.
Yeah.
And that they hold all the cards. There's a definite double standard. Mm-hmm. And I talk about that all the time, the double standard between us and them. They're protected in their abuse of us because those mandates are coming down from on high. So they're protected. And whatever they do to us, just like this scanner message, take a sip of water, keep it moving. They're protected. They're encouraged to do that. And that's coming down from as high as it gets. And unfortunately, again, my president is non-existent. He's out of the game. And if I was him, every day I'd go into my office and kicking shit over. I'd be so pissed. I'd be kicking the same trash can over across the damn room every single day.
They're calling the cops on you and having you removed for that shit.
Yeah. But if I'm the president, I'm kicking some shit around.
Yeah.
I just am. And I'm going to say, hey, my carriers are not protected. Why? Mm-hmm. But we don't have that. Matter of fact, this motherfucker's part of the problem. With the
you said something interesting. And first off, how excited are you at the convention?
I can't wait.
Fireworks.
I hope I make it. I hope I make it a couple of days where they kick my ass out. They'll come up with something trying to kick my ass out again. But
that's crazy.
I'm excited about it, man. Yeah. I'm excited. First off, to see everybody. You talk to a lot of people. It'll be a good reunion and stuff. But also, what's going to happen on the floor. It's going to be very interesting.
It's going to be very interesting to say the least. This would actually be my first convention, believe it or not.
It's a spectacle.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be going if I wasn't so vested. Maybe it's not as vested as you are.
Yeah.
Because obviously you will be the next MBA.
Appreciate that. Right? Yeah, really.
But listen, I applaud all the younger carriers out there stepping up again, giving them, finding their voice, letting it be heard, uniting for a common cause. How many movements do we have have afoot right now, right? And the people out there speaking up with their own platforms, it's just amazing to see. I never thought I would see that. The shit that I've been saying for a long time, I've always been ostracized for it, cast aside, the outcast, I don't want to say laughing stock, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? And then fast forward to now, everybody's I feel like everybody's starting to awake and getting woke, right? And see what I, not just me, but others have been saying all along. So I'm excited for the convention to see what happens. Hopefully you get to stay around and have some dinner with Richie Ray. And
at least make it past Wednesday. That'll be a record for me. And so, but on that, and I know with your podcast as well as mine, you talk about that ground roots uprising. You can feel it. I can feel it.
Yeah.
You have these movements. You're talking about Tyler Vassar.
Yes, sir.
How many CCAs are now getting involved saying, hey, we're going to take it up as well, and we're going to start getting it out there that they need to vote, because the CCAs, if there's still a position when we have this next contract, I don't know what they're going to do. I haven't heard anything. But if there's still a CCA position, they need to have a movement, because they will carry this election. Mm-hmm. They will carry this vote. That's how influential they are. And I don't know if they understand that. I have a lot of CCAs that contact me about, hey, can they do this to me? Can they do that? But a lot of them are saying, hey, we're listening. We're telling other people to listen. We're with you on this as far as challenging our union about not fighting for us. Anytime I ever go somewhere and speak, the first thing I say is, how many CCAs do we have here? To see how many CCAs are going to the union meetings. Mm-hmm. How many do we have? You got a handful. Good for y'all. Getting involved. Mm-hmm. Because you're going to be the future, like they say. You're the future of the NLC. And I love seeing that the CCAs get involved with that. They understand that I'm here for them. Whatever they need, man, I'll try to help them out as much as I can. But you got Tyler Vassar's movement. He's a younger, that younger movement of building a fighting NLC. As sad as that is to say, we should all be trying to building a fighting NLC.
Absolutely.
But you have to have an entire group that just says, we're here to build a fighting NLC. To me, everybody should be involved with that group, with Tyler Vassar's movement. I'm all in on it, because I want to see a fighting NLC. Absolutely. And that starts with education, like I say, and love, because you get a bunch of people that love each other. That's hell, son.
I'll go to war with you.
That's hell, baby. That's when you get on that workroom floor and all the carriers love each other, they're hell. Straight up.
Richie Ray said it best. Richie, if I fuck this up again, which you know I will, listen, you can correct me when you come down and visit me, man. But he always said, and listen, he got this from, it might have been Paul Cobb or somebody else, but up there in New York, Region 15. But what's more valuable? What's better than, what do you say, 1 or 2 shop stewards who know their shit in the workroom floor? A few members, right?
Mm-hmm.
I fucked that all up, Richie. I apologize. You can.
Hey, Richie, message me and I'll tell it next week.
There you go, brother. But it's true, and that comes down to education and information again, and just educating all of our members. Imagine a workroom floor that didn't need a shop steward because they were so educated because they knew what to do. That's what we need to get to. And with the CLC ticket, I strongly believe that we can get there.
We're going to get there.
We will get there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that starts with, like I say, educating every member. Educate every member. And it's going to make the shop steward's job so much easier. The biggest benefit I had when I became a shop steward is that my carriers, they're old timers, they knew every part of every contract. Every single thing, they knew it. I knew nothing. Only thing I knew how to do was raise hell. And that's the reason my president asked me to be a shop steward, is because I would get on the workroom floor and cuss like I do on this podcast. And when I saw my carriers being done wrong, and I wasn't the shop steward, I was just like, I'm not going to have my carriers fucked with. And the president at the time was the shop steward going up to be the president, Dave Clark, who I've talked about numerous times. I love the guy. He said, hey, I want you to be the shop steward. And eventually I was persuaded to do that, but I was extremely fortunate in that my carriers were extremely educated. Mm-hmm. And so they'd come up to me and they'd say, hey, Corey, right there, what they're doing right there, make sure you request this right here because that's a grievance. I'd go look it up, study it. We got us a grievance. And that's what happens when you educate the workroom floor. It made my job so much easier until I was able to take that over for myself. That's a grievance. That's a grievance. Right. That's a gripe, not a grievance. This is, and I would every day on my breaks, I'd read the M39 handbook. As boring as that sounds, because I wanted to know their handbook more than they did. Every day on break, I'd read the M41. At lunch, I would take the JCAM in with me and just look at different portions. Article 16, get that down by memory. Mm-hmm. When you get that discipline, just like when I first started this podcast, those are things that I learned along the way. How you defeat discipline. Why? Is that the most important thing to me? Because it removes me from my livelihood. To me, that's the most important thing because it's going to remove someone from their livelihood. And Ron, I don't care what you did. I always say this. I don't give a fuck what you do, man. You can come in there and say, hey, they got me for selling cocaine. I'm not going to say, dude, you're fucked. I'm going to say, let's see what they give us, man. Let's see, wait on this discipline. When you go on this II, I'm going to take care of you in there. Let's wait on this discipline, see what they charge you with. How are we going to beat that charge? Who do I need to talk to? What am I going to need to request? I don't give a fuck what anybody does. Right? Mm-hmm. Article 16, I got into that and I memorized Article 16. So that when I got that discipline, I said, I'm looking for these things. I'm going to request this information. And then I'm going to request that information. And so it's all about getting in there and getting that shit done, man. And that comes with love. Absolutely. It starts with love. It wasn't about pride. It wasn't about me. Hey, I'm never going to lose. That's silly. Because I don't want to lose. I hate losing. Mm-hmm. But I love my people. And so I'm going to educate myself so that I could represent them as best as I could. And so I don't even know if that was a question you asked me. Was that a question you asked me? Or did I just start that shit? Did I just start talking?
We are freestyling here.
I was like, you're looking at me like, where in the fuck did that come from? Let me see, what else do I want to talk about?
No, you said something interesting, though, but it's you read the JCAM. You read this slowly but surely. Then you took the M39. You had the JCAM. Mm-hmm. I mean, we need to start pushing the work injury stuff, OWCP, workers' comp, just the basics. Just learn the basics.
It's so difficult.
Read the RWCAs, to do their job, no WCP reps, and we don't even have an assistant to the president anymore. Kevin Carr left.
Yeah.
What's his name filled in, right? Colby Jones.
Yeah. Who's that dude's smart.
He's very smart. He knows his shit.
He is very smart. Regardless of what you think, dude is smart, man. He helped me on an OWCP case down when I was going down to Louisiana. He called me.
Okay.
And helped me on that. And so he knows his shit as far as that concerned. But yeah, just the basics so the carriers can get it started. That's what we need.
Absolutely.
It started as the CA1, CA2, COP.
First off, what is
OWCP?
CA1, right?
Yeah.
What is a CA2?
The CA1, if I'm walking up on a porch and I fall through the son of a bitch, that's a CA1.
One work shift.
Because if
it occurred over one work shift.
Yeah, if somebody throws a rock at somebody and it hits me in the head, that's a CA1. Mm-hmm. That's a traumatic injury. I know exactly when it happened, and I can pinpoint when it happened. If you're talking about a CA2, if I'm moving these wire cages around that we're having so many issues with.
Repetitive.
They're giving us these wire cages, and that's a muscular skeletal injury waiting to happen. And a year or two later, my shoulders go out. My back goes out. I can't pinpoint when it happened, but I know how it happened. It happened because I'm using this wire all the time. And so a doctor's going to say, that injury is related to moving that wire. We don't know when it happened, but we know why it happened. It happened with that. And so that's a postal service injury. That's a CA2. Mm-hmm. Or a carpal tunnel is a CA2. That's something I can't tell you when it happened. I just know over a period of time, this happened because of me working at the Postal Service, either through case and mail this same way for all these years, doing this, leaning out of the postal truck all these years. Yeah. So that's the CA2. Then you're talking about COP. That shit gets fucked up all the time. Poor JB in COP, he calls me bitching all the time. These motherfuckers have fucked it up again. And it's a constant fucking fight. OWCP, because I did something at work, they're not wanting to approve that. That's a constant fight. Mm-hmm. Need to get educated on that. That's something you cannot give up on. You got to keep that. They want to try to beat you down in that process so that you just give up on it. You can't do that. Yeah, you got to keep fighting on that. And so, that's a lot of people reached out about me doing episodes on those things, and I'll be glad to. I've handled those things in arbitration before. You want me to do one? Okay.
Bring me in with you.
Come back down, baby. I'll take you to another place that eats pretty good.
Let's do it. Listen, just sitting there listening to you speak, it gave me the warm fuzzies all over, man.
Right.
Real talk, because knowing just that, what you just said, how many people don't even know that? And let me rephrase that. Members, right? But how many people who have a position within NELC do not know just that basic information?
Yeah. And that's what you need to teach the carriers. Yeah. Teach them enough to get this process started. Yep. And then you have those individuals that say, I'll take it from here.
Yeah.
I think that it's if you're going to spend money as a union, you're going to spend money. Training. You got to spend money on training. Get back into arbitration. Spend money on arbitration. Man, we are a very rich union. Spend money, because when I'm business agent, we're going back into arbitration. That's going to be the number one expense that we have, is because I'm going to put, contract killers in these arbitrations, and we're getting back in there. OWCP, COP, CA1, CA2s, these injuries that debilitate carriers, what you're talking about earlier, their livelihoods, their lives, their home lives, all these things, spend a lot of money on that and make sure that every carrier has that protection they need if I get injured on the job, whether it be a traumatic injury, CA1, a CA2, continuation of pay, OWCP. Make sure we're spending money so that every single carrier knows that, hey, my region's got me. If I get injured, I'm going to do these basic things to get started, and they're going to send some professionals down to take care of me, because we need to take care of our city letter carriers.
Yes.
They're going to take care of me by paying my salary.
That's it.
And so with these dues, and I want them happy. Mm-hmm. I want them coming to work and happy. If they're injured and can't come to work, what can I do to help them?
Listen, I hope your audience and the members out there are listening closely to what you just said there, because you know, in my podcast, I do a lot of work injuries.
Yeah.
And again, many fucking regions out there they're just in bad shape.
Yeah.
Their members are suffering.
Oh, God.
Because it's exactly what you just said, they're not doing.
Mm-hmm.
So for you to say that that's what you want to do, I hope they understand exactly what you're saying. Because let's be honest, they're not going to understand until they go through that process.
Yeah.
And they're hurting themselves.
Be injured.
There's a reason why they say that. Listen, your injury is not the most painful thing. It's the fucking process that you have to go through. The fight that you have to go through.
They will
to
beat
get
you down.
your benefits that you are actually entitled to and deserve. So I applaud you for that, and I hope the members out there in your region can understand fully exactly what you just said.
I have seen the fight. I have seen that fight too many times when they will beat a carrier down.
Yeah. And
that's where you need to have a strong union, a strong business agent, a strong president who says, hey, look, calm down. Here's your paperwork. Look, give it to me. This is what we're going to do. They're telling you exactly why they denied it. Right here.
Yep.
Because they're very good at that. You know how that process is. They'll, at least if they're going to deny it, they're going to tell you why.
And what they need.
Yep. And we're going to continue to do that. Mm-hmm. Chill out. Relax. We're going to take care of you. That's what the agent needs to be doing. And we don't do that.
And the ones that do that, I just want to add, the ones that do that who are great. Again, I'm going to keep saying her name, Kristen Williams. She doesn't get enough attention and recognition for what she does, because I've never seen anybody be as sincere as her and to do what she does for us, the members. Listen, there's a reason why Tyler and I were talking about this in one episode. He thought they should have a top tier pay scale for NALC officers, and I disagreed, because I made the argument, but I also know that they take the work home. They don't punch out of the time clock. Mm-hmm. They're never off the clock. As an MBA, that's your job, right? You're gonna do stuff when it's there for you to do, right? So she doesn't get enough recognition. I want to make sure she gets it. But
what's her name again?
Kristen Williams, Region 12, 13, yeah, RWCA. So, she's awesome. A training, the 21st. Is that next Sunday already?
Mm-hmm.
Holy moly! Down in Hamilton, New Jersey. Register if you didn't already, so they know that you're coming. It's free and it's open to all of our members. So if you're in the area, drop in. Register. Hit her up at Kristen Williams at NALC.org, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
But or just ask your MBA for that information. I'm sure they can get it to you if you're around in that area. But listen, one more thing here. What do you think about how important are not just our LPOs? And listen, shout out to Mark Ashman. The guy's phenomenal. He knows his shit outside of being an LPO. He knows everything and anything in between. But imagine if all of our carriers donated to the political fund. Mm-hmm. No matter how big or how small that donation is. If we had $1 million plus every fucking year to have at our disposal to give to whatever fights we have, like HR Act 7629. What was it, the Fred Rolando days? I'm going to be talking about this with Tyler as well. Postal reform, right? But there's always something. It's not about Democrat, Republican, red and blue, right?
I agree.
We need what we need, and we need the lobby to get what we need to better our craft and to help our members as a whole. So I think it's important. And listen, nothing against anybody out there that does not contribute. But if you don't, please reconsider, because we need those donations to help lobby for the best interest of us.
It's the ugliest game there is, and we have to play it.
Absolutely.
That's what that is. It's the ugliest game there is. We're buying votes. It's basically what that is. We're buying votes, and you can't outbid somebody. If UPS or FedEx have that big fat ass bankroll, and they're going to try to take parcel business or make us match their rates or something to try to, saying, hey, the Postal Service has an unfair advantage because they don't have to charge as much as we have. And they go to Capitol Hill saying, hey, we need some legislation that makes the Postal Service pay as much as we do so that they can lose business too. We've got to have that money to put in people's pockets. It's that fucking simple. Like you said, it's not about party. It's about who is going to agree with me on this.
Exactly.
And who is going to agree with me, and who can I put this money in their pocket? When Lou Drass was business agent, I think I've told this before, when he was business agent, Colsep just came out. And so we were talking about, he said, hey, get as many people to sign up as you can. Well, I was getting so many people to sign up. Lou called me. He said, how are you doing this? I would have 6 or 7 a day signing up for COLSEP. And he said, how are you doing this? And I said, what I'm doing is I'm finding the most staunch Democrat I can find. And I'm saying, here's the benefits of COLSEP. Now go to your like-minded people and get them signed up. I found the most staunch Republican I could find. I mean, as staunch, as far right as you can get. And I said, hey, here's the benefits of this. They're going to get money over there, and we'll say, hey, we need your vote. Who is that going to be? And so go out there and tell these carriers that are staunch Republicans, this is why we need COLSEP. Mm-hmm. Because there are those on this side that will side with the union. And so we started doing that, and it just started raking in the fucking money. And so, yeah, that's how important that is. You got to forget about party.
Yeah.
And, if you see a list of 60 Democrats and 3 Republicans, all that means is there was no more Republicans that sided with us on something that we needed. And so, but we made sure we took care of them anyway. And so, it's a dirty game. It's a very dirty but necessary game.
Necessary evil is right. Absolutely. Listen, I feel like we talked about a shit ton here today, man.
For not having a topic, we did pretty damn good.
You're damn right. I loved it, man.
Just shooting from the hip.
One more thing before we close out. I want to give again, it's a PSA to basically the membership out there. You hear me say it all the time, but please educate yourself. Research, just like Corey here said, how he did. Read a page 2 a night of the JCAN, of the M39, right, of the M41, even in the Elm, whatever it is. Just take one little chapter, dive into it, and teach yourself something. I don't care what it is. Just educate yourself.
Yeah.
And number 2, speak up. Speak up and advocate for yourself or others. Write that damn witness statement for somebody that needs it. I didn't talk about this earlier, but I hear it all the time how carriers are throwing other carriers under the bus. Mm-hmm. We need to stop that shit. Stop that mentality. Are we going to have disagreements? Sure. My fucking family is dysfunctional. I'm sure a lot of people's are. That's what family is. It's this dysfunctional family, but nonetheless, you should be there at the end of the day for each other. So I just want to send that out to everybody. Listen, please stop being an asshole towards each other. At least stop going out of your way to be an asshole. Yeah. I can jokingly still be an asshole with you, right?
Right.
Hey, Rich, Corey's over here calling you and I short over here because he's tall as hell here.
What did you say I look like when you said you have a vision?
I said, when I first heard Corey on his podcast, I was like, and then when we did our interview, I'm like, I'm hearing you talk, and I'm like, he's some old guy with curly hair, glasses. I didn't get the beard, but I'm like, oh, this guy, I don't know, man. It just that's the picture.
I don't have curly hair.
No, you don't have no hair. You're just like me.
Right.
Yeah. But I also want to say to people out there, if you get hurt on a job, report it. First off, before you even get injured on a job, I want each and everyone out there to register. Register on eComps. Just register and set up your profile. Mm-hmm. It's there when you get injured on a job. How many of us have a smart device on the job? Now, for all your old timers out there who don't have it, that's what your OWCP rep or your shop steward in your office should have one of them, and you should call them right away. Never, never, never do it on a postal computer. Do not do that. I'm just going to say that. You do what you want with that information. Don't do it. Okay? And if you do it, you better change your damn password right away. Right? But that's all I got to say, because they can change your information. And also, search out, there's some places out there, there's a lot of places out there, I should say, who don't know federal work comp. You're going to cause more of a headache for yourself if you don't go somewhere that's going to take care of you. There's places out there, again, do your due diligence. There's one in particular that I vetted. He was on my show. That was FedUp. So I just want to give him a shout out. Yes, he's a sponsor for my podcast now. I'm proud to announce that. My first sponsor. We're going to have a lot more coming in. And, but it's www.forfedhurt.com. Check them out. See if there's a location near you. I still want you to do your due diligence. If something feels off, you make a call, then don't go, right? You got to do your due diligence and advocate for yourself. Just because I vetted them and I stand behind them, that doesn't mean you will. But still, if I'm vetting them, 9 out of 10 times, you are too. But there's other places out there as well. And you just got to do your due diligence. Make sure you go to somewhere that not only accepts federal work comp, but knows the language, the right narrative reports. And listen, our WCAs do write great narrative reports. Kristen, sorry, I'm going to give you a shout out again here. Saying your name a lot here this episode. She does a great job. Excuse me. Especially not just with narrative reports, but she helps people with schedule awards as well.
Yeah.
That's what our WCAs should be doing across this region, helping our members. Now, it does take them time to get to everybody. And this is why that information is very important, because we need to multiply the RWCAs that are doing what they're supposed to do across this country and multiply what they do. They can't be everywhere with everyone all the time. That's why the information is crucial for us, so we can help the members, because too many of us are getting injured. But please, go somewhere that does federal work comp, and some questions you can ask them. You just said it right there. We talk about CA1s or CA2s, right? Mm-hmm. And to dumb it down even further, they call it a CA1 because it happens over the course of one work shift. They call it a CA2 because it happens over the course of 2 or more work shifts. That's just a dumbed down version for y'all out there. But ask somebody out there, when you call to go to a doctor, ask them, like, yo, do you know what a CA1 is? What's the purpose of a CA17? Ask them what a CA7 is, even though that's going to fall on you to get paid. But see if they know that. Now, stick with just the CA1, CA2s, and CA17, right? And ask them what the 5 basic elements are. I'm not going to tell you. I said it all the time on my show. I want you guys to go out there. Just look up 5 basic elements of an OWCP claim. Do that to yourself. Educate yourself. And you'll have all the information you need to combat the process. But shout out to Dr. Robert Custon and FedHurt. But yeah, that's all I got. Oh, I also got a website coming out soon. It'll be going live anytime now. I'm going to have my man Corey look at it, get some feedback from him.
I'll critique it for you.
I know you can. I know you will. You're the man with that stuff. But we might call, what's his name back up and be like...
Cole Billups?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My savior.
Yeah. But anything else, man? Anything else?
Man, I cannot thank you enough for coming down here and doing this. It was a lot of fun. I was worried when you said I have no topics. I was like, what in the fuck we fixing to get into?
We always have topics.
We can just shoot some shit. Just shooting the shit for an hour and a half. I love you, brother, and you know that.
Well. Yes, sir.
Hey, Boston, first night, Sunday night, the meet and greet. Make sure you come to that.
Absolutely.
All right? Because the Lions are going to be in there roaming around.
Okay.
Right? And so...
I'm going to have my FedUp shirt on. So
okay.
I'm going to be easy to spot.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many people are going to wear theirs. We'll probably see more with from Arbitration, and that's great. Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing some CLC T-shirts.
They got them.
Do they?
Yeah.
See,
I think they're handing them out.
I want to wear one. Maybe I'll wear one the next night.
I'll make sure you get one.
Please do, because I'm all for the CLC. And listen, again, I want to know to people out there, I support James Henry 100%. And now that I said that, I know. Should I share this little backlog story? I don't want to. I better not, because I don't want to get someone else in trouble who's in an appointed position. I don't want to do that to them.
Maybe later.
Yeah, off air, I'll tell you.
Okay.
But
and I'll tell it next week.
No, don't do that. Please don't. Please don't. Because I respect this guy too damn much. But Brian won't want to come on my show after me saying just that right there. I support James Henry 100% and the CLC. Brian, nothing personal, brother. I don't really care about your charges and what you did. And I say that wholeheartedly because, again, I don't do politics. Yeah. I hear you do a great job doing everything and uncovering, speaking what needs to be said on that shit. Yeah. So I applaud you and I salute you, sir. Yeah. But for me, it ain't about that shit, Brian. I just don't want you on my show. And that's that. I support James Henry 100%. Now, you're more than welcome to come on from Arbitration and have a conversation with Corey.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, They blackballed me. I blackballed him. He ain't going to come on here no more. All right, my brother.
Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, I'm going to get you back to your room.
Yeah,
how's that sound?
That sounds outstanding, man. My belly's rumbling, man.
All right. So I'll see everybody next week. That was Mr. Ron Speakman himself in-house in this palatial studio. And I'll see y'all next Sunday with Mr. Charlie Miller. All right. Y'all be safe out there. It's hotter than hell. And so make sure you keep yourself hydrated. Take breaks as needed in this heat, regardless of what scanner message you get. Take care of yourself. All right. I love every one of you. And I'll talk to y'all next week. Bye.
Love y'all.